Driver Side's a suite of web tools that basically helps people manage ownership of their car better. And what that means is, because your car is, if you own a home, your second largest asset, and if you rent, it's probably your largest asset. And the sad thing about it, unless it's an awesome collector car, it's probably depreciating. So there are a lot of options for finding a new car, finding a used car. We're really the only site that concentrates on keeping the car on the road longer, getting more mileage out of your existing car, so you don't have to go buy a new one.
How am I a better consumer through your website?
Our web tools are really designed for the mainstream user. So to that point, we've built, for instance, a diagnostic tool. So you start at the top of this web tool that says, describe your symptom. It either sounds like, feels like, smells like. The smoke is blue, the smell smells like rotten eggs, right? So when we walk people through all these steps to try to figure out, in layman terms, just based on their senses, what exactly is going wrong with the car. And you can actually boil down seemingly complicated or ambiguous problems down to, this is probably one of two things, and then the next step is contact a service provider in our network who will do this work for a fair price for you.
And how do you know what a fair price is?
So we have a database of all these jobs, from basic things like an oil change all the way up to a new transmission, right, and everything in between. For every car made since about 1985, right, so that covers most cars on the road. And we've assembled, which parts are involved in those, what those parts should retail for, and about how many hours are involved in the job. And then, obviously, the labor rates are different in every market, so we went to the government and said, in the 215 DMAs, local metropolitan areas in the U.S., what are the standard labor rates? So we put all that stuff together, built this web tool called Repair Cost Calculator. And you're using data at this point to empower yourself against mechanics who know a lot more than you do about your car.
How do you fund that? I mean, I imagine that's great service for consumers. I use it myself, but that can't come cheap. What are the business aspects of it? How do you pay for all that?
Sure. So obviously, if you're going to build a service that saves people money, you can't charge them for it, right? It doesn't scale well. People wouldn't be apt to using it. So we load the cost onto the dealerships and the aftermarket service providers. And it actually becomes a win-win because the service providers, and this could be the mechanic bays at the dealership or aftermarket guys like Precision Tune, they're hungry for business. And car servicing is largely seen as commoditized, and our product helps differentiate that a lot for them.